Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Friday edition, the Feedback Friday edition of the Rundown. We appreciate you all joining us out there from Viewerland. My name is Mike Poworski. I'll be hosting the program today. I come to you from the East Coast, which is the coast with the most, but I do not do this program by myself.
No, you do not, sir. My name is Craig DeLuz, and I will be coming at you from the left coast, from behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras in California. And to those of you on the East Coast, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Good afternoon to you out there on the West Coast. How about that?
There you go. By the way, you have the mostest of some things. We have the mostest of the crackpots, the left wing wackos here.
You have the most bad stuff. You have the most bad stuff. Yeah, we'll give you that. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Look, if you got to be number one, it's something, right?
That's right. You got the most wackadoos, the most illegal aliens, the most mudslides. The most hurricane or tornadoes. It's not tornadoes, earthquakes. Mm-hmm. There we go. So we got the hurricanes. That's us.
Hurricanes. Or do they call them slurricanes?
Well, it's all right when we get them. They kind of flush away the dirtiness over here on the East Coast. The problem over there is you got all them hills, so it brings the mud down from the top of the hills. It's problems. Here it's just like, oh look, we got some standing water on the road. Darn. Wait for it to go down.
Well, it's just to truly understand Florida, you have to appreciate the fact that, number one, they have parties during natural disasters. Oh, yeah. And they also have a drink named after a natural disaster. So that kind of gives you, the feeling of, kind of the bring it on attitude of the Floridian.
Listen, you got your 5 categories of hurricanes, right? You got the Cat 1 through the Cat 5. Unless there's a Cat 4 and it's predicted the eye of the storm to hit dead at my house, I'm not even bringing the lawn furniture in. It just doesn't even matter anymore. It's just, you better tell me we're going to be at 80% devastation and you're 100% convinced of that before you expect me to even acknowledge the existence of a hurricane. Yeah. So, you got people that go out and they need all the milk and all the bread, and everybody else is like, I need ice and rum because it's time to be a pirate.
Gotta love Florida.
Oh yeah.
One of my favorite places, by the way.
Good stuff. We actually got a good Florida story today later in the program also, so that's good. How's your weekend looking, sir? What do you got planned?
Originally I had a film shoot scheduled for Saturday. That got canceled. I had a thing with my alma mater. That got canceled. So I will be spending the weekend doing absolutely nothing constructive once again. 2 weekends in a row. Wow. I'm blessed.
You didn't have a film shoot scheduled with Alec Baldwin by chance, did you?
No, not with Alec Baldwin. I specifically avoid. Well, if there are firearms included, I will avoid a film shoot with Alec.
So that's
Baldwin.
Pretty wise. That's pretty wise. Good move. That's another story we've got later in the program. So good stuff. Yeah, I've got the Arms Room Radio tomorrow. I'll be doing that with my co-host there, Earl. You guys know Earl. He's been here with us before, and then going flying with some of the friends I know for on Sunday. Sunday's a flying day, so should be good stuff. Good stuff.
Excellent.
Yeah. So let's move right along, if we shall. Is that how we're supposed to do it, right? First, what we're going to talk to you about is this just happened within the past couple of days, Craig. And I believe it was in Arizona. Is that correct? Was this Arizona or New Mexico?
I think was Arizona. That was in Arizona, yes.
Arizona, okay. And there was a convenience store robbery. Now, listen, there's plenty of other people that we see that take these stories and show them to you. We've got good friends that what do they call them? Happy ending stories. They call them tales. Or gun tales. I forget what the other ones call them, but this is what we like. We want to show this and talk to you about it. There's this young man. I'm going to guess he's under 40. Let's call that a former Marine, perhaps a retired Marine, who's in a convenience store when three Utes is what it looks like. 3 Utes walk into the convenience store, one armed with a firearm, and this former Marine makes no hesitation at all before deciding that this armed robbery is about to end. And I believe, Craig, you pulled the video from this also, did you not?
Yes, I did. Ready to rock as soon as you give me the signal.
Let's take a look at it. Now watch this, folks. Don't turn your head away because the action happens in the first second here.
An armed man walks into the gas station, points a gun at the cashier, but is quickly disarmed by the Marine. This happened at a Chevron in Yuma yesterday. He was able to hold down the robber until police arrived. The other two suspects got away. Thankfully, no one was hurt. When deputies asked the Marine how he was able to take control of the situation, he said, "The Marine Corps taught me not to mess around."
The action was so quick, they actually made sure to show it to you like 3 or 4 times during the telling of that story.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I see in this video, and we'll have a conversation about it for a few moments. This is the first thing, Craig, on here, and I think you'll agree on this, is the zero hesitation at all in this former Marine's decision-making process. Normally when you're faced with these life and death decisions, and that's what this was, you'll get that momentary lockup, just of recognition. I'm not talking about people that freeze. I'm
Right.
talking about that momentary recognition of what's going on, and then you do the quick math in your head, and that still might take 3 seconds. That's all we're talking about, 3 seconds, and you're still at that point, poised for victory. But this Marine, you could see the moment the snapshot of the firearm hits his brain, he's already reacting. He's reacting, and when you look at this video, and maybe we'll take a look at it again, that moment he actually sees it, he turns and sees the 3 guys coming in, but the moment he sees the firearm, he's got it. He's put it in his hand. He's taken it from them. In fact, let's roll that video one more time.
All right, I'm going to roll the video again. This time I'm going to be rolling it without the sound.
Okay.
So what's interesting that you'll notice about this is, first of all, as soon as he turns around, let's see, here we get here. Come on. Let's do this. Because
That's right. So the moment he turns, you can see. Now, the first thing that I noticed about the Marine is he's right-handed. How do I know he's right-handed? He's carrying his groceries in his right hand. He's got his keys in his left hand. He's got his watch on his left hand. He's right-handed.
All right.
But he has no problem reacting with his left hand. Watch.
Well,
Boom,
you notice
just there.
What
takes it.
Right. But watch his feet. First of all, you see how quickly he goes into a fight stance, right?
Yep.
Watch his feet. Bam. That's the first thing. He pushes off.
Yep.
I mean, he was like, it was instinct. It wasn't even, it wasn't like he didn't think. It was literally just instinct.
Yep. And pushes the gun up and away.
Right.
That's what you do. That's the standard procedure. Take them off their feet, take them off the ground. And I like how the 2 compatriots there were like, "Oh no, we're out. No, we did not plan on there being any resistance whatsoever.
Well,
we will not be part of the resistance."
From the very beginning, someone walks into the store and he doesn't know what's going on, but his situational awareness tells him, "Look over my shoulder and see what's coming in the store behind me."
Yep.
I mean, like you said, from the very beginning, this is all, it is literally a master lesson in situational awareness.
Yeah.
He's standing there, dude comes walking in, he looks over his shoulder to see who's walking in the store behind him. He squares up, and then boom, he's at it.
Yeah. He, like you said, he's turning, he's trying to get acclimated to what's going on, and literally the moment he sees the firearm, he's on the firearm. There is no take 3 seconds, pause. What do? I do this, I do that in my brain. He's already done it. And I'll tell you where this comes from. This obviously comes from the Marine Corps, but this is not just what any Marine gets. This guy has probably got, I bet, at least 6 months to a year's experience of going door to door, house to house in a country like Iraq or Afghanistan. Because you go from door to door, house to house, raiding every building, never knowing what's on the other side.
Right.
This is months and months and months of never knowing what's on the other side, and always reacting or acting before anybody else has the opportunity to.
Well, but it's
to survive in those situations.
It's training and conditioning, and that's the reason why, folks, if you're a gun owner, if you're not training both what to do with a firearm and how to use your firearm, as well as in the event that you don't have immediate access to your firearm or are confronted by someone with a firearm, if you're not doing that, you need to take some time to do it. I mean, it's literally, you don't want to be a thing where you're thinking about what it is that you need to do. You literally want it to be a reaction. it's vitally important. And trust me, it's the sort of thing like insurance. 99.9% of us will never, ever have to use it. But if you are the 0.1% that does have to use it, you want to make sure you know what you're doing. You want to make sure that you react appropriately. And this is a guy who clearly not only was taught right, but trained right. And it saved who knows how many lives that were there in the store.
Yeah, yeah. And listen, I have no judgment, no decision whether if this guy was even carrying, if the Marine was carrying a firearm. Yeah. His best decision, his best offense was to strip the firearm away from the bad guy where it was. If let's say he had taken a half step back and he was the fastest draw in the world and pulled his handgun from underneath his shirt, well, at that point you've given up the distance that you had already closed. Now you're asking for the gunfight rather than just taking this guy and planting him into the cooler as he did.
Right.
So quickly. So that was very nice to see the people that retain those skill sets of instant decision making. And for those that, hey, let's turn this around. Let's say you always well, the cop, they shot the kid because he had a toy gun or something like that. Let's look at this right here. This is how fast that cop has to react. There's the gun. There's the gun. Now,
right.
Most of law enforcement encounters are 25, 30 feet away because they're called to someplace as opposed to a bad guy walking in where they are. All right. That's the difference between the civilian world and the law enforcement world. But it's still that quick. You had that split-second decision to make up the first recognition, right? And then to have reaction to that. It's absolutely stunning to see the speed of this encounter, and rather refreshing to know that that skill set does exist out there in the civilian world, and formerly skill sets of the Marine world.
Nice, very nice,
Yeah.
very nice.
Yeah. Let's move to Florida, shall we, Craig? And I know you want to move to Florida, but let's move to Florida with the stories here, real quick. There's well, it's funny. It's a run and gun battle going on between the governor of Florida, that's Captain Florida, Ron DeSantis, and the mayor of Orange County, and that's he's the mayor of the county that includes Orlando, the largest city in Central Florida. So these two have been at odds with each other since day one over COVID response. You have the conservative governor with the liberal mayor, and that's what's going on here. I'll give you a little background on the mayor, this Mayor Demings here in Orlando. He is he's the mayor of Orange County. I want to be clear on that. There is a separate Orlando mayor. But he is it's the larger entity. I don't know, Craig, how it is with you out in California, but in this case, the county of Orange, where the city of Orlando is, the county is actually the bigger government agency than the city. So I'm not sure.
Well, we have that in California, except we don't call they're just the chairman of the board of supervisors. We call them supervisors. We don't call them a mayor. The mayor is the mayor of the city.
And this guy his position used to be the chairman, but 10, 15 years ago, I actually think it was when Mel Martinez, who became the Secretary of HUD, I believe, under George Bush. Mel Martinez was the mayor back then, and they changed it. Excuse me, he was the chairman back then, and they changed the position title to mayor of the county. So we actually have a county mayor and then a city mayor, and many city mayors in the county. So, but the Orange County mayor happens to be the larger government entity. So, just to give people the little theater of the mind of what we're talking about. Well, the mayor of the county here is the former police chief for the city of Orlando. Then he became, which is about roughly 1,000 police officers. Let's go there. Then he ran for office and became the sheriff of Orange County, and did that for 8 years. And so now he had a larger agency, the agency about twice the size, about 2,000 deputies, and then all of the county, municipality, and everything else within that. And then he ran as county mayor. So now he's the county mayor. He's married to, and you might recognize the name, Val Demings, the congressperson from Orlando. She's also a former Orlando police chief. she's the one who famously had her gun stolen from her car and decided to report it to a different agency, the one her husband was running at the time, so there'd be no press or politics that she lost her firearm and failed to report it. And by the way, she suspended herself for that, for doing wrong. Then she ran for Congress 3 times. The first 2 times she lost because she ran in a standard district in Florida, but they had to create a all minority district for her to win under the Obama presidency, and she won in during the Obama presidency. So we have the setting going on there now. You have the liberal mayor fighting the conservative governor. So here's the situation. This liberal mayor has decided everybody that works for him has to have a vaccination. And he has said, and the fire department works for him, right? So the fire department says, okay, we'll do that. And currently 88% of the fire department has been vaccinated. So they get this one battalion chief, who's probably like number 5 or 10 in the agency, right? Of maybe 1,000 firemen. And they tell him, listen, all these people out there, including yourself, don't have vaccinations. So we need you to get them all to get their vaccinations. So it's got the mayor's policy, right? And the fire chief's policy. So they find the ranking guy who doesn't have a vaccination, and they tell him to make all the other people get vaccinations. And when he says, no, that's illegal because of HIPAA, that's illegal because of Americans with Disability Act, it's illegal for all these different reasons, I'm not going to do that, they fire him for insubordination rather than firing him for not having the vaccination. What do you think of that, Greg?
Well, once again, because you will not enforce our policies,
Yes.
our illegal policies, and that's the thing, Ultimately, what this comes down to is that he recognized that there's a problem here, and you're basically forcing people to inject a chemical into their body, and people have a right to resist that, and he's not going to enforce that, which he believes to be unconstitutional. I say that he's consistent with the oath of office that he took when he became a battalion chief. That's what I would say. And this is the same thing, by the way, they're doing to businesses in places like California or in San Francisco and in New York City, where they want to require, add the average citizen, right, to enforce their mandates. And I'm sorry, but they're not paid to do that. And he's not paid to do that. You get your own, you go get your own little, brown shirt Nazi folks to enforce these sorts of things. Don't ask people who took a job under an employment contract that did not include enforcing people, once again, to inject their bodies with a foreign chemical.
So, Craig, as soon as this happens, he gets terminated, right? The union, everybody else, all the public service organizations all join behind this guy, and it gets the governor's attention. Captain Florida coming to town, right? Captain Florida comes in. Now, the battalion chief immediately and the union filed lawsuit against the city for unlawful termination for all the reasons cited during this segment. And the governor has a press conference, stands them up there with him, and goes, "This is wrong. We took somebody who was a hero a couple of months ago, and now we're telling him. And now you're saying he's a liability." The mayor gets up there with all of his liberal crap BS. And is making statements like we're it's a part of a team. We have to help secure the entire community. And Craig, he might as well have said, and all we're going to do is suspend some rights to get it's exactly what he was saying. And the governor comes up and says, no, BS. By the way, in response to this, the state of Florida and the governor's office have joined this lawsuit against Orange County, and I am recalling the legislature next week to create and pass a new law that makes these mandates 100% illegal.
Right.
And I know what's going to happen. In that law, it's going to say if that chief executive of that town or that city or that county passes such an ordinance, that the governor can remove them from office. Because
Pretty
this
much.
governor has removed bad sheriffs, bad supervisors of elections, bad mayors, bad state's attorneys, and you're about to see the mayor of Orlando or mayor of Orange County be the former mayor of Orange County if he wants to push Governor DeSantis, who, by the way, Craig, has just released a new logo for the state of Florida and for his homepage.
Oh, you mean this one right here? Don't tread on Florida. Oh man. Well, no, you definitely don't want to tread on a gator. Just saying.
Yeah, you do not want to on a gator or on Captain Florida Governor DeSantis.
No. And once again, and people will say, "Oh, well, he's just being a fascist." Let me tell you something. The fascists are not the the ones fighting for your right to make medical decisions for yourself. Yeah. By definition, they're not the fascists. Just saying. The ones who want to force you to inject yourself with stuff and not give you a right to decide, you make your own medical decisions. Yeah, they're the fascists.
It's for the security of everyone else, Craig.
Right.
That's what this mayor said. That's
because,
how we're going to keep
Mike,
everyone else safe.
Because my vaccine is not working because you're not vaccinated. I feel kind of dirty just being on the internet with you.
It's well, listen, you're not wearing your seatbelt, Craig, so we're both in danger right now.
Exactly. I'm supposed to be wearing my seatbelt even when I'm not driving.
Well,
I'm sorry. You're supposed to be wearing your seatbelt even when I'm not driving.
Exactly right. Yeah.
To protect me.
Put your seatbelt on, sir.
Right.
Yep. I'm also going to need you to stop eating that fast food because it's affecting my diet, Craig. So.
Bah humbug.
All right, let's roll some tragedy coming out of Hollywood today. There was a movie that's new Western style movie being shot. I'm not sure of the location yet. I don't know if you've seen that, Craig.
It was in New Mexico.
In New Mexico, okay. So they're shooting out there. It's a Western style, and Alec Baldwin is one of the stars of the film. Alec Baldwin picked up a prop gun. Discharged the prop gun. Now, for everything that we see at this point, this was not like joking around or picking up the gun or trying to, show off or that there's no indication of that at all. And as much as I don't like Alec Baldwin's politics, I'm not going to make up facts to make the guy look bad. Okay. There's no indication at all from the reports that we're seeing that there was any negligence that occurred at this point. As far as the use of the firearm. Now, the firearm itself was a prop gun. What's that mean? And Craig, if you go to IMDb, you can see my name's in there. I have been the technical advisor on many movies for films involving firearms. So I've been in charge of these firearms and making sure that the safety of these firearms work. The way this works is no one touches the firearm unless it comes through the hands of the technical advisor on the set. It's the only way.
The technical term is called an armorer. So you're the armorer on set.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The chief armorer who is a technical advisor.
Right. Who, by the way, is not just trained in firearms, but also understands how they're supposed to be used within the industry. And
correct.
Firearms. Yeah.
Correct. So, and this is the only way I've ever worked on one of these movie sets, Craig. And let's go back to two screen. I want to talk to this with you. Okay. You're the guy in front of the camera. All right. I've never been an in front of the camera guy, and I get the idea that all of those of us around you that make $20,000-$30,000 a year doing these technical advisor jobs, and the guy like an Alec Baldwin makes $10 million a movie, right? And they get a little intimidated by somebody like Alec Baldwin, and maybe they want to be in his favor. And so when he goes for a firearm, they don't object. But rule number one, and we set this out there because as the armorer technical advisor, it's never my job to make $1 million. It's my job to make sure people don't get killed. All right.
Right.
So the rule is no one touches a firearm to start a scene or even end a scene unless it comes through my hand or my assistant, Joey, whoever it happens to be that's there with me if there's a lot of firearms. That way, it's someone who is a professional, who is an expert, picks up the firearm, checks it, does the firing, does the technician, then puts it in their hand, okay? And then you move to the next guy, and you move to the next guy. And at the end of the shoot, at the end of the scene, you stand there with those firearms and you wait until we come take them out of your hands. That way you never have to worry about this prop firearm that it looks like all Alec Baldwin did was pick up and shoot in the course of either preparing for the scene or shooting the scene, all of a sudden one person's killed and another is wounded. All right, this is and again, not trying to throw Alec under the bus at all, but this is very important in not only in the movie business, Craig, but for real firearms. All right, the lesson here is if you ever encounter a firearm and it's not your firearm and you're not 100% sure of its status, you don't go picking it up and start pulling triggers on it. Okay?
I wanna, and I'm hoping that I can get this because I wanted to show this to you. It is a scene. It is you've probably seen this video before, but it's Will Smith from
yes
from Bad Boys. You've probably seen this video before.
Yeah.
Let me see. Okay, bam. Okay, let me move it over here, and I'm running this straight from YouTube. So let's see if this works. Okay. So you see, he's looking.
Watch his eyes.
Picks up the gun. Checked it. Make sure it was loaded. So I see if it was loaded, and then handed it back to the guy.
Because that guy picked up the gun,
right?
And pointed it, so he flagged. The barrel was pointing at other people, and Will was like, "No, that's not how we do this."
Well, and that's the thing is getting people into number one. It's real simple. Always treat a firearm like it's loaded. And I've been on more than one movie set which included which included real firearms, prop firearms using blanks, as well as airsoft guns, right? Where they're going to add in all of the stuff, fake guns where they're going to add in all of the everything later. Yeah. And the first rule, number one, is you treat even a prop firearm like it's a real firearm, right? You don't play, because what you don't want to get into is you don't want to get into bad habits. You train, like you said, what's that saying? You train like you fight, you fight like you train. And so the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that what you're doing is that what you're doing is correct. That you're being safe. And too often what winds up happening is people get used to getting comfortable.
Right.
And, in this particular case, and once again, I don't know what happened in this particular case. I don't know exactly what went down. But I'm going to guess that, someone made a mistake somewhere along the line, either in checking the firearm or it was not handled as though it were, or treated as though it were an actual firearm.
Correct.
Or there was some sort of a misfire with the firearm, which once again goes back to the armor.
Remember, there's basic rules of firearm safety out there, depending on whether you get them from the NRA or whoever it happens to be. I'll tell you this right now, for those of you watching, there's one rule that you need to remember, and it's the same rule over and over: safety, 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 safety. Don't remember. You got to remember anything else. Just remember safety, 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 safety. That's all you got to remember. Safety, safety, safety. Is this safe? Is this safe? Is this safe? That's all you got to remember. Everything else we can negotiate later, and we can change the rules back to something else. But if you remember if you know
the four basic rules of firearm safety, you remember those, and you employ those in all that you do.
Yep.
Accidents will not happen. Like I said, once again, unless the firearm is malfunctions, and even then, if it unless the firearm malfunctions, it explodes in your hand, which I don't know that was the case here.
No, very rare, very rare. All right, Craig, let's move on to SHOT Show 21. This is the Shooting, Hunting, Outdoor Trade Show, which is open to 100,000 of our closest friends and relatives in the the shooting, hunting, outdoor trade industry. This will be the third week of January in 2022 is actually when it will be. I think we put 2021 on there just out of habit. So,
oops.
It's all right. I just noticed it now, so it's no big deal. And I sent it over to you. No worries. Here's what we're hearing. I'll give you a little history. And it's actually, I've been doing some research, getting ready to send a story out on this as well. We had it was about 3 weeks ago now, the Concealed Carry Expo put on by our friends over at the USCCA. That was in Fort Worth, and it went off great. Good stuff. Good people. This was really the first industry style event with the displays and the booths that's been done since COVID started. We've had NRA canceled. We've had SHOT Show canceled. So that had gone on. This was the first one, and it would have been 16 months after, right? 16, 17 months after SHOT Show, or where the original SHOT Show was canceled and the COVID came out. Excuse me. After SHOT Show happened, COVID came out, NRA was canceled. So this was the first industry-style event that had occurred. It went off rather well. A lot of big names there as well. I did hear, and I did confirm this, that SIG says that they're not going to SHOT Show. SIG says they're not going to SHOT Show because, well, and here's part of this story right here. They're worried about the safety of their people. All right. What I've got from the backside is SIG's made their money this year and last year, and rather than risk the people, they're going to stay home. They've made their money, Craig. This is a money issue for them. This is not a safety issue for them. So what I'm basically doing is throwing SIG under the bus for using COVID and COVID fears to save a couple of dollars. So they're trying to look like they are being very, very cautious when all they're doing is saying, we're in the black this year. We got no reason to come there and try and sell guns. So SIG has done that. But that has started many other rumors going on about SHOT Show, and I want to tell you what I found out, because everybody's talking about mask mandates. Everybody's talking about vaccination cards. So, being a news guy and being a reporter, I've done a little work this week. I've talked to the people at the National Shooting Sports Foundation, NSSF, and they are the ones that host and organize SHOT Show. I talked to them at their offices up in Connecticut, and they said, here's our policy. Here's our statement. Geisley Triggers, who is one of their partners, will be providing 250,000 masks. So masks will be made available for people that attend. Boom, that's it. Hey, NSSF, are people supposed to be wearing masks? Are you supposed to be doing anything else? Is there something you're going to be mandating? Mike, here's what we're telling you. 250,000 masks will be made available for those that want to use them. Craig, you clear on that? What did they say?
I believe they said 250,000 masks will be available for those who wish to use them.
Wish to use them. They didn't say anything about mandatory. They didn't say anything about enforcing. So I talked to the COVEX people. Those are the ones that are the staffing for the event. Okay, they don't work for the hall. They don't work for NSSF. Everybody that's ever been around a convention center knows these ones. These are the ones wearing the yellow smocks that say event staff on them, right? Because NSSF or the convention center can't keep 1,000 people on staff for an occasional convention. So these companies exist to facilitate all the conventions around town. There's always a body of manpower ready to go. I talked to them, and they said, well, we enforce whatever the host organizer wants us to enforce. And I said, okay, well, what's their statement? That masks will be made available to those that want to use them. Okay? Right. So I talked to the Sands. I talked to a very, very nice woman at the Sands Expo Center. And I said, well, what's the deal? She said, listen, we are in Las Vegas. We are in Nevada. And it's the same thing the COVEX people told me, by the way. Because they're employees in the state, they have to wear a mask for the event. They have to wear a mask under their condition of their employment, all right? Right. And I asked her, I said, you're at the Sands. What's your policy? She said, well, we wear masks. I said, well, how about when you're dealing with people going to the convention? She said, we don't deal with people going to the convention. We just make sure we're wearing masks. And the only way we deal with people going to the convention is make sure they're having a good convention experience. Well, ma'am, what if they're not wearing a mask? Well, we don't care. That's not us. We're only making sure that our employees wear masks because that's our policy for our employees. Well, what about for the National Shooting Sports Foundation? What about for COVEX? That's their own policies. All we're here for is to provide the facility. So I went to the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department and the Clark County Sheriff's Office. And you know what they both told me? Hey, this might be the governor's rule, but it's not a law. We don't enforce rules, okay? If somebody calls and there's a fight over people fighting over a mask, they would obviously respond to that because that's people having a fight, okay? Right. But we are not the mask police. We are not the mask enforcers. Our officers can wear them or not wear them. It's up to them. We do not get involved in the mask business, sir, and we hope you enjoy your stay in Las Vegas.
Kind of simple, isn't it?
It is, but everybody's telling rumors and hate on somebody else out there, trying to get this There's those that we know, even in our industry, Craig, that are so afraid of this virus that they're willing to come up and lie and try and get another one of our events canceled. Imagine what the opposition is going to do with the anti-gun crowd and the rumors they're trying to spread. So this is why I'm putting this out there, why I'm writing this story. So not even the anti-gun crowd can show up. The homework's been done. The questions have been asked and answered. Okay. You want to come to Vegas and wear a mask? You can wear a mask. Oh, and by the way, no vaccination card required by anyone. Nothing whatsoever. Don't have to show a vaccination card. Don't have to show a negative test. You just come here, be a tourist, be a businessman. You want to wear a mask, you wear one. You don't want to wear a mask, you don't wear one. That's all there is to it.
Mic drop.
Boom.
Mic drop. Boom.
Now, there might be other businesses in Vegas that say, we want you to wear a mask to come into our restaurant, but I'm not worried about them. I'm worried about NSSF, COVEX, the Sheriff's Office, the PD, and the SANS. That's all I'm worried about. You will
be able to have a wonderful experience if you decide you never want to put on a mask. If you decide, you know what, I want to go into this place so much, you can keep a mask on you and decide, go ahead, I'll put on a mask to be able to go in here. You may, but once again, you make your choice. You don't want to wear a mask, you just choose not to go into that business. And that's fine, because guess what? It's Vegas. There's plenty of places to go where you don't have to worry about that.
Exactly right. And where this conversation started, shame on you, Sig Sauer, for taking the coward's way out and trying to use COVID for the reason you're not showing up to this event. And I'll say this to you, and I've said it many times on this program, I vote with my wallet. I may buy from you at some time in the future if you get your head out of your ass, but at this point, you'll get no more purchases out of me.
Well, but Mike, and that's the thing that we all have to understand is that a lot of these big corporations in the industry do not necessarily represent the values of the average gun owner. Whether it's retailers, these big box stores that sell firearms like Big Five or Walmart or those guys, or Dick's, who used to sell firearms, whether it's them or even whether it's some of the larger manufacturers, they're in their industry and they're into it for one thing, and that is to make a profit. Now, that's not to say that all of them are like that, but there are many of them that are. And, so my attitude with them is that, I look at each company for what they do and I judge them accordingly. And those that support my rights are a lot more likely to get my money.
Listen, the large guys like Sig, this is one of the big players there also at the SHOT Show. They don't need to go to SHOT Show to make the money. This is like, imagine folks that have never been to one of these before, like the auto show, when you see the auto show. Okay, Ford doesn't need to go to the auto show to show you the new model of the Mustang. Okay, you're going to go look for it. If you want the new model of the Mustang you're going to watch TV, you're going to see the commercials, you're going to get there. This is just kind of the showing off part, all right?
Right.
But the middle guys and the little guys, they need this SHOT Show to survive, all right? They need this to their contracts for the year. And then if enough of these big guys bounce out, then people that are organizing the event start looking at cutting back on the event and canceling an event. And that's where it hurts the entire industry. That's where it hurts the entire firearms industry, because you start with the greed of somebody like a Sig, and then you end up hurting all the small guys.
And just so you know, just like, corporations only have a small percentage of overall jobs. When it comes to firearms, it's the small guys that really help drive the industry and really make the industry work and provide jobs and economic opportunities within the firearms industry. Without them, without the little guys, the mid guys, this industry doesn't exist.
Exactly right.
Yeah, so we need them and we need to support them, which, by the way, is why I will always tell you, I don't buy firearms or ammo from the big box stores. I always try to buy it from the local retailer, because they're the ones that are actually facilitating the exercising of our constitutional right and supporting us on the ground.
Exactly right. Exactly right. All right, Craig, that's enough of us pontificating. Let's move to the parting shot here of the day.
All right, so this one is actually a buddy of mine, Eddie, and I've known Eddie since college. Right, one of the few people I've actually known longer than I've known my wife. But he's a good friend. Grew up in college watching Cowboy games on Sundays. But he sent me this, and it made me laugh hysterically. And it just goes back to show. And Mike, you've always said this. What was the first thing that they said when COVID first hit, when they first started trying to shut everything down?
2 weeks to flatten the curve. That's all we need. 2 weeks to flatten the curve.
And we'll just Show it to you. We went from 10 days to flatten the curve to show me your papers in a year. I did not see that coming.
Exactly right.
That is a phenomenal play on words.
Yep.
And pretty much tells you exactly what you need to know. And once again, I know the term fascist and fascism is way overused, and the Nazi references are way overblown. But once again,
who's the Nazi now, huh?
Right. I did not see that coming.
Listen, we just gave you a story of a mayor who fired a hero fireman. Those that helped. You keep everybody safe during the first events, the transportation of people to hospitals, and the medical services that the fire department provides. And guess what? You do not have your paper. You do not have your vaccination paper. You're fired. You're fired.
And that's New York, the epicenter of New York City, the epicenter of COVID in the very beginning. You had healthcare workers. They didn't know. We didn't know what we didn't know. And there were doctors, and there were nurses, and there were healthcare workers who were there in the hospitals protecting people, doing the best they could to save lives. They were literal heroes, putting themselves at risk. And now they're being told that if you don't get jabbed, you're gonna lose your job. You're done. You're out of here. By the way, during a time in which we have a shortage of healthcare workers.
Oh yeah, absolutely right. So ridiculous.
It is beyond crazy, beyond insane. And those of you who do not see that, you are part of the problem.
You did not see that coming. Yeah. All right, Craig, we have kept the folks too long today. We've gone over. Thank you for staying here with us. Let's say thank you to our sponsors, Guerrilla Machining, Grid Defense, the California Republican Assembly. It's always great to have all of you here with us. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to everything that we're doing and sending you. And I guess we'll see everybody on Monday, Craig. Is that right?
Yeah, we'll see everybody on Monday. Could not have said it better myself, my friend. You enjoy your weekend.
Have a good one. We'll see you soon.